Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Munmun Bhattacharya, coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi receives warm reception and Lao PDR meets Indian community members and spiritual leaders, witnesses up close ancient spiritual and civilizational linkages from Ramayana to temples. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses the 21st India-ASEAN Summit in Vientiane, outlines a 10-point plan to strengthen connectivity and resilience, holds a bilateral meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister. Last rites of Ratan Tata, beacon of India Inc. and philanthropist, take place in Mumbai. President and Prime Minister of India lead the nation in paying tribute to the icon. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the 21st ASEAN India Summit in Vientiane in Laos. And speaking on India's Act East policy, PM stressed that in the last decade, this policy has given new energy, direction and momentum to the historic relations between India and ASEAN countries.
हम एक दूसरे के पड़ोसी हैं, ग्लोबल साउथ के साथी सदस्य हैं और विश्व में तेज गति से ग्रो करने वाला क्षेत्र है। हम शांतिप्रिय देश हैं, एक दूसरे की राष्ट्रीय अखंडता और संप्रभुता का सम्मान करते हैं और अपने युवाओं के उज्जवल भविष्य के प्रति हम कमिटेड हैं। मेरा मानना है कि 21वीं सदी एशियन सेंचुरी भारत और आसियान देशों की सेंचुरी है। आज जब विश्व के कई हिस्सों में संघर्ष और तनाव की स्थिति है, तब भारत और आसियान की मित्रता, समन्वय, संवाद और सहयोग बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। आसियान की सफल अध्यक्षता के लिए मैं लाओ पीडीआर के प्रधानमंत्री सोनसाई सिपांदोन को हार्दिक बधाई देता हूं।
ASEAN India released a joint statement on advancing digital transformation. Leaders reaffirmed their commitment to promote the ASEAN India Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. They also recognized the significant role of digital public infrastructure and promoting inclusivity, efficiency and innovation in public service delivery. Leaders appreciated the contribution made by India towards implementation of the ASEAN Digital Master Plan 2025. They acknowledged the development of the ASEAN Digital Master Plan 2026-2030, which aims to expedite digital transformation across ASEAN in line with the common goals of ASEAN Community Vision 2045. Leaders appreciated India for setting up the ASEAN India Fund for Digital Future, focusing on cooperation in digital transformation in ASEAN countries. They also declare to strengthen cooperation in 1. Digital public infrastructure, 2. Financial technology, 3. Cybersecurity, 4. Artificial intelligence, 5. Capacity building and knowledge sharing, 6. Sustainable financing and investment, and the 7th implementation mechanism. India's Prime Minister also announced a 10-point plan which includes, first, celebrating the year 2025 as ASEAN India Year of Tourism, for which India would make available $5 million towards joint activities. Second, to celebrate a decade of Act East policy through several people-centric activities, including the Youth Summit, Startup Festival, Hackathon, Music Festival, ASEAN India Network of Think Tanks and Delhi Dialogue. Third, to organize ASEAN India Women Scientist Conclave under ASEAN India Science and Technology Development Fund. Fourth, on doubling the number of scholarships at the Nalanda University and provision of new scholarships for ASEAN students at agricultural universities in India. Fifth, on reviewing of ASEAN India Trade and Goods Agreement by 2025. Sixth, on enhancing disaster resilience, for which India would make available $5 million. Seventh, on initiating a new health minister's track towards building health resilience. Eighth, on initiating a regular mechanism of India-ASEAN cyber policy dialogue towards strengthening digital and cyber resilience. Ninth point, on announcing workshop on green hydrogen. And lastly, PM invited ASEAN leaders to join Plant a Tree for Mother campaign towards building climate resilience. PM Modi was given a grand welcome by the Indian community in Lao PDR. Take a look. Prime Minister Narendra Modi witnessed an episode of Lao Ramayan called Fa Lak Fa Lam or Fra Lak Fra Ram, performed by the prestigious Royal Theatre of Luang Prabang. Ramayan continues to be celebrated in Laos, and the epic reflects the shared heritage and age-old civilizational connection between the two countries. Several facets of Indian culture and tradition have been practiced and preserved in Laos for centuries. The two countries are closely working to illuminate the shared heritage. Several dignitaries, including Minister of Home Affairs, Minister of Education and Sports, the Governor of the Bank of Lao PDR and Mayor of Vientiane, were present on the occasion. Lao PDR recently issued a postage stamp featuring Sri Ram Lala of Ayodhya, making it the first country in the world to issue a stamp depicting the revered deity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also participated in a blessing ceremony by senior Buddhist monks of a Central Buddhist Fellowship Organization of Lao PDR, led by the Most Venerable Mahaved Masenai, the revered abbot of Sisaket Temple in Vientiane. Shared Buddhist heritage represents yet another facet of close civilizational bonds between India and Laos. PM Modi witnessed an exhibition on the restoration and conservation of Wat Pho temple complex done by the Archaeological Survey of India in Laos. The temple complex, a UNESCO World Heritage Site which is being restored and conserved by the Archaeological Survey of India, is believed to be over 1,000 years old. The Champasak cultural landscape stretches from the sacred mountain of Linga Parvat to the Mekong River. The Wat Pho site was originally built as a Hindu temple complex in the early 11th century. Earlier in the day, upon his arrival in Vientiane, the Prime Minister was accorded a ceremonial guard of honor. He was welcomed by Minister of Home Affairs of Laos, Villai Budakham. India and Lao PDR share historical and civilizational linkages reflecting Buddhism and Ramayana connect. DD India's Meghna Dev reports.
India and Lao People's Democratic Republic have historical and civilizational links reflected in the common heritage of Buddhism and Ramayana. Lao PDR recently issued a postage stamp featuring Sri Ram Lalla of Ayodhya, making it the first country in the world to issue a stamp depicting the revered deity.
Ramayana is a special theme generally for performances of theatre in the ASEAN countries, and it is considered a shared heritage of the Eastern world. Ramayana is also popularly known as Fralak Fraram, or also known as Ramakien in the Southeast Asian region, and it is performed on auspicious occasions like the New Year or major festivals, when we actually see that most of the action of this epic is based alongside the Mekong River, which is the Southeast Asian mainland and is somewhat what Ganga means to India.
Buddhism is another aspect that traces our deep civilizational linkages. Many monks from Laos still go to Bodh Gaya to study. Monk Solidet Duangchansev, monk from Lao PDR, is pursuing Buddhist studies at the Nalanda University under a scholarship provided by the ICCR.
My name is Monk Solidet Duangchansev. I am Buddhist monk from Laos PDR. Now I am studying at Nalanda University under ICCR scholarship. This scholarship provided by Government of India. India and Laos PDR have a close civilizational ties reflected in common heritage of Buddhism. These ties have been given an impetus to increase dynamic promotion of Buddhist thinkers and our common heritage, which includes the exchange of Buddhist scholars from different parts of the country.
The Ramayana, popular throughout South and Southeast Asia, was first brought to the ancient Lao kingdom of Lane Sang centuries ago, reportedly by Buddhist missions. The historical connections between India and Laos continue to influence their modern close relationship. Today, this shared heritage is reflected in ongoing cultural and a robust development partnership cooperation. Meghna Dev's report for DD India.
And joining us now is our correspondent Meghna Dev from Vientiane in Lao PDR. Meghna, how was the reception from ASEAN leaders to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 10-point action plan, coming as it did in the 10th year of India's Act East policy?
Well, the 10-point proposal that Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid out is completely based on how to enhance the connectivity, how to enhance cooperation in different sectors with the ASEAN. Now, first, when we look at 2025 will be celebrated as the ASEAN India Year of Tourism. Now, tourism is something that, India has been working on with ASEAN, and ASEAN has also reciprocated. When we actually talk about tourism, we definitely do see that direct flight connectivity impacts tourism a lot. And that's the reason we already have direct flights to 7 ASEAN countries. And one that Prime Minister Narendra Modi said will begin from Brunei Darussalam. So that definitely is, an important aspect when we talk about tourism. We also do see when the tourism sector, Buddhism and Ramayana is something that holds, that is a shared cultural heritage, and the reason that a number of people from Southeast Asia come to India for tourism. So that is something that India would want to promote in this year, in the year 2025, when it will be the year for tourism for India and ASEAN. Next, we see that for the India-ASEAN year, when we are celebrating 10 years of our Act East policy, we're talking about Youth Summit, Startup Festival, hackathons, Delhi Dialogue, and such interactions wherein students from India and students from the ASEAN region can interact and can talk about problem statements and solutions and startups and more. That will also help in enhancing what tech and what tech advancement, what more ground in the technology, be it fintech or be it infrastructural development, is are both the countries going on. That will be an exchange of important technology and maybe ideas and more. We also see there's a women scientists conclave on the agenda. Next, we see that very importantly, more scholarships, new scholarships will be announced for the ASEAN countries, for the students, for agricultural universities in India. And very importantly, that comes as a good news that number of scholarships that ICCR used to offer for Buddhist monks to study in India at the Nalanda University will be doubled. So that has happened because there is a number of inquiry that has come. We have met a number of monks here as well, and we've met a couple of monks who are actually studying at the Nalanda University, and they actually tell us about the surge in demand that has come up because of to study at the Nalanda University. We obviously see that a $5 million fund for disaster resilience is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has talked about. He has talked about digital cyber resilience. Now, when we're talking about cyber security, it becomes extremely important, Munmun, on the backdrop that a number of people, a number of Indian youngsters fall prey to fraudulent job offers from the Southeast Asian countries like Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos. And that has become a really, big menace when we are talking about fraudulent job offers, wherein Indian youth is being lured to, work in difficult conditions, and they are kept hostage and they are kidnapped, and situations like that come up where embassies have to put in all efforts to rescue the youngsters. So that is something very important, and the awareness for that is extremely important. So digital and cyber security is something that ASEAN and India will be focusing more on in this 10-point proposal. Obviously, we're talking about the green hydrogen workshop, how to enhance green energy. India is already on path to achieve its 500 megawatt by 2030 goal. We definitely do see that a lot of initiatives have been taken in the green energy sector, be it green steel and such. When we're talking about collaboration with countries like Sweden, where we are talking about green energy, green steel, we are talking about green batteries. So what more can be done in this sector with the ASEAN nations is something that this 10-point agenda look forward to. And at last, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi did say about the climate resilience, he did say that "Ek ped maa ke naam," a tree for your mother, is something that he would want the leaders to participate in. So comprehensively, he encapsulated all the sectors, important sectors, and the upcoming year, how it will be celebrated as the year of India and ASEAN.
Okay. Meghna, also in the context of the civilizational connect between India and Lao PDR, how significant has this visit been?
Munmun, that's a very important aspect, because in the morning when Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived to Vientiane, we did see those visuals wherein, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was actually watching the Falak Faram, which is the Lao version of the Ramayana. And it was performed by very renowned artists here. And as we showed in our report also, that Lao PDR was the country to release the stamps of Ram Lala, Ayodhya's Ram Lala. So that becomes extremely important when we definitely see that the connect is not just because of trade, the connect is not just because of quick development projects that India is carrying out in the region, but the connect is also because of what shared cultural heritage that we have. Be it Buddhism, we saw Prime Minister Narendra Modi sitting there, a sacred thread being tied on his hand, where the Buddhist monks were chanting prayers for him. And, when we spoke to the Buddhist monks, they said that this chanting was to prevent Prime Minister from any unfortunate situation that may come in the future. So the chanting was to prevent that. So, the kind of rich cultural heritage and the culture that we saw today very much similar to what India has, and the reason that a number of people from the Southeast Asian countries, from the ASEAN region, travel to India, to the Buddhist circuit, to Kushinagar, to Bodh Gaya. They also travel to Nepal, to Lumbini. They, so all these places where they travel, they definitely do see they definitely, trace their Buddhist lineage there. So that is something that definitely did reflect in this visit, and it was very high on, the cultural show today.
Right, Meghna, we'll leave it at that. Meghna Dev reporting from Vientiane. So the ASEAN Secretary General Kao Kim Hoon said that despite slow progress on key issues like Myanmar's civil war and tensions in South China Sea, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations is viewed as a stabilizing force in the region.
People always put too much emphasis on problems. But the way I look at ASEAN, then we have come a long way. ASEAN today, economically, we're the 5th largest economy in the world. We have 8 FTAs. All right, we have the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. It's the world's largest FTA. Who will invest in a region that is unstable? Who will invest in a region that there's a conflict? Nobody can invest. But the fact that there is confidence and trust in ASEAN, that's why the $230 billion investment moved into ASEAN. And this is only second to the US globally.
Japan has pledged to enhance its partnership with ASEAN countries during a summit in Laos, and Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba said on Thursday that his nation would also work closely with ASEAN to promote green and digital transformation and advancement. While Prime Minister of Laos, Sonsai Sifondon, pointed out the significance of their 50-year friendship, emphasizing that it provides a strong foundation for further collaboration across political, security, economic, and socio-cultural spheres. Meanwhile, leaders from Southeast Asian nations met with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, emphasizing the importance of trust and support from Canberra for regional prosperity. During the meeting, Albanese highlighted that mutual confidence is crucial in addressing challenges such as climate change, maritime security, and transnational crime. The ASEAN-Australia Summit is part of a broader gathering in Laos, which includes leaders from the US, China, Japan, and Russia. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Russia reclaims territory from Ukraine. Hurricane Milton leaves behind a trail of destruction as it makes landfall in the US state of Florida. And tennis star Rafael Nadal announces his retirement from tennis. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. And now let's go over to Lao PDR, where a meeting is taking place between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon. Well, India and New Zealand have historically shared close and cordial ties. Similarities such as membership in the Commonwealth, common law practices, and pursuing shared aspirations of achieving economic development and prosperity through democratic governance systems for diverse communities in both countries provide an excellent backdrop for deepening the friendly ties. Both countries became independent in the same year, and diplomatic representation of India was established in 1950 with the opening of a trade commission, and that was later upgraded to High Commission. There are tourism links, there are sporting links, particularly in cricket, hockey and mountaineering, and they have all played a significant role in fostering goodwill between the two countries. Both countries have been fellow travelers, so to say, in their commitment to disarmament, combating international terrorism, global peace, North-South dialogue, human rights and ecological preservation. People-to-people contacts have flourished since migration from India began at the turn of the last century. New Zealand has approximately 250,000 persons of Indian origin and NRIs. That's a vast majority of which have made New Zealand their permanent home. The United States President Joe Biden has reaffirmed his ironclad support for Israel during a phone call with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The call between the two leaders on Wednesday lasted 30 minutes and was their first publicly announced conversation since August amid an escalation of violence in Gaza and Lebanon. Vice President Kamala Harris also joined the call. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre earlier had described the talks as direct and productive. Talks also included discussions on a potential attack on Iran. The United States is working to get Americans out of Lebanon ahead of a potential Israeli attack. White House press spokesperson also said that the U.S. Embassy in Beirut remains open and the U.S. will continue to make airplanes available as long as the Beirut airport remains open.
As long as the Beirut airport remains open, we will continue to make more airplane seats available daily. To date, the number of seats available continues to exceed demand. The U.S. Embassy in Beirut remains open and can help Americans who need emergency passports or other documentation. We urge Americans to take advantage of these options. Ultimately, a diplomatic resolution is the only way to achieve lasting stability and security across the Israel-Lebanon border.
Meanwhile, Israel's defense minister warned on Wednesday that his country's retaliation for a recent Iranian missile attack will be lethal and surprising. Iran fired dozens of missiles at Israel on the 1st of October in an escalation of the conflict between the two countries.
Now you have seen the attacks that the Iranians attacked us a short while ago. These attacks were aggressive, but they failed because they weren't accurate attacks. Just as we have been doing until now in the war on all of the fronts, whoever attacks us will be hurt and will pay a price. Our attack will be deadly, precise, and above all, surprising. They will not understand what happened and how it happened. They will see the results.
A bilateral meeting was held between the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in Riyadh on Wednesday. In that meeting, they discussed recent developments in the region along with some bilateral issues and efforts to broker ceasefire in Lebanon and Gaza. Earlier this week, Tehran had warned Gulf states of reciprocation if they allow use of their airspace against Iran. The region has been in an undecisive and edgy mode awaiting Israel's response to Tehran's recent retaliatory missile attacks. The 15-member United Nations Security Council met over the humanitarian crisis a year after a deadly attack by Palestinian terrorists on southern Israel that sparked the conflict in Gaza. Referring to reports of squalid conditions in South and Central Gaza, U.S. Ambassador to the UN Linda Thomas-Greenfield said Israel needs to urgently address catastrophic conditions among Palestinian civilians in the besieged Gaza Strip. She also addressed a recent Israeli order for civilians in Gaza's north to evacuate again, saying they must be able to return to communities to rebuild.
Conditions are catastrophic and will further deteriorate if additional steps are not taken. Indeed, all parties must meet their responsibilities under Resolution 2720. The flow of humanitarian aid through multiple border crossings to Palestinian civilians is desperately needed and must be allowed.
The United Nations has a long complaint of obstacles of getting aid into Gaza and distributing it during the conflict. The head of the UN Palestinian Refugee Agency, UNRWA, told the Security Council that Gazas are teetering on the edge of a man-made famine.
Israel imposes no restrictions on humanitarian aid. In fact, 82% of all requests for humanitarian coordination have been approved and implemented. We have a vision for Gaza without Hamas. Aid would finally reach those who truly need it. Hamas had exploited the suffering of its people, using the misery in Gaza as a propaganda tool while they line their pockets and boost their arsenals. Our vision of Gaza is not an impossible dream. It is within reach. But it cannot happen while Hamas remains in control, diverting aid, exploiting resources, and worsening the suffering of their own people.
As bombings and airstrikes become a daily routine for the people of Lebanon, locals in Beirut continue opening shops and businesses to carry on with life as usual. They claim they are the survivors who have to carry on despite the hardships they face. More than 2,100 people have been killed in Lebanon in recent Israeli strikes aimed at Hezbollah's various hideouts. In the latest developments in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russia claimed to have attacked multiple Ukrainian military facilities and equipment, resulting in casualties and the destruction of tanks, howitzers and ammunition depots. The Russian Defense Ministry reported regaining control of the settlements of Novaya Sorochina and Pokrovsky, which had been captured by Ukrainian forces in August. Meanwhile, Ukraine's armed forces reported 80 combat engagements in the past 24 hours, and its drone attacked the Khanskaya military airbase in Russia's Adygea Republic on Thursday morning. Social media videos showed a red flash lighting up the sky in the night, followed by a loud rumble. Kremlin dismissed reports on Thursday that North Korea was sending soldiers to fight for Russia in Ukraine, stating that it sees no signs of Ukraine being ready for a ceasefire. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters that while there have been numerous media reports about ceasefire plans, Moscow has not received any concrete signals from Kiev.
No, we haven't. There's a lot of speculation about it in the media right now, but no one is taking any action on it.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Thursday at Downing Street in London. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte is expected to join them later in the day. The meeting provides a boost for Ukraine following the cancellation of a summit with its main backers amid ongoing challenges in its fight against Russia. As countdown of presidential polls in USA has started, Republicans and Democrats are all out in the open now to denounce the other. On Wednesday, there was a huge spar between US President Joe Biden and the former US President Donald Trump, as the latter even reached the former's hometown to woo the voters. Here are more details in Akhilesh Suman's report.
Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump took the political fight to US President Joe Biden's hometown of Scranton in Pennsylvania. It was Trump's second visit to Pennsylvania in 5 days, as he held rallies in primarily blue-collar regions.
Tim and Comrade Kamala are really a true threat. They are a true threat to democracy. I'm not a threat to democracy. I'm the one that's going to save democracy.
Trump and Democratic candidate Kamala Harris are locked in a neck-to-neck fight in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a swing state with 19 electoral votes, and is likely to prove crucial to who wins the November 5th poll. Trump once again targeted the Biden administration and Harris on allegations of ineffective rescue and relief ops after the area was swamped by hurricanes.
She's just led the worst rescue operation in history in North Carolina. The worst. And we have another big one coming in, but the worst, the one in North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Virginia, pieces of Florida got hit.
US President Joe Biden strongly refuted the claims made by the Republican nominee. Biden accused Trump of spreading lies regarding a natural calamity.
Former President Trump has led this onslaught of lies. Assertions have been made that property is being confiscated. It's simply not true. They're saying people impacted by these storms will receive $750 in cash and no more. That is simply not true either.
Meanwhile, Oscar-winning actor Julia Roberts joined Harris's campaign in her home state of Georgia.
I believe in Georgia. I wouldn't have come home if I didn't believe that we can accomplish really beautiful goals that will extend beyond our state's borders.
Donald Trump, too, in his reading rally, introduced Vivek Ramaswamy, an American of Indian origin who also stood for the presidential post and later withdrew in favor of Donald Trump.
You heard Vivek. How about Vivek? Great guy.
The US presidential polls are being called the closest ever in recent times. As November 5th approaches, the endorsements and counterclaims are certainly helping it to live up to the billing. Akhilesh Suman's report for DD India.
Hurricane Milton left behind a trail of destruction as it made landfall in the U.S. state of Florida. Tornadoes and flash floods swamped the state, impacting more than 3 million people and disrupting businesses. Milton weakened to a Category 1 storm, but it was still registering powerful winds of up to 150 kilometers per hour on Thursday morning. Scientists say that extreme rainfall and destructive storms are occupying and occurring with a greater severity and frequency as temperatures rise because of climate change. Airports in Tampa and Sarasota in Florida were closed until further notice. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden urged Floridians to take shelter and prepare for Hurricane Milton's destructive impact, emphasizing the need for immediate safety measures for those unable to evacuate.
Former President Trump has led this onslaught of lies. Assertions have been made that property is being confiscated. It's simply not true. They're saying people impacted by these storms will receive $750 in cash and no more. That is simply not true either. They're saying the money needed for these crises are being diverted to migrants. What the heck are they talking about? Stop it. It's outrageous. It's just not true.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump said his prayers were with the people of Florida. Criticizing Biden administration, Trump said they have done a terrible job in its response.
Before we begin, I want to send our prayers to the people of Florida getting hit just about now. In a little while, you're going to see a hurricane like we haven't seen in a long time, as well as all of the people still recovering from Hurricane Helene. So we have North Carolina's been hit very hard, and this administration has not done a proper job at all. Terrible, terrible. Nobody's seen anything like it. But we just pray for everybody. We want them all to be good, and we're going to be there hopefully soon, and we're going to help them rebuild and get it all back together.
Donald Trump has praised Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, hailing him as a good friend and the nicest human being. Speaking during a podcast interview released recently, former US President said that PM Modi is, quote-unquote, a total killer with the nation's adversaries. He added that PM Modi turned down offers of help when India faced threats. Explaining the assessment, he said, "We had a couple of occasions where somebody was threatening India. I said, let me help. I am very good with those people. Let me help." But PM Modi turned down the offer, saying, I will do it, and I will do anything necessary. We've defeated them for hundreds of years, Trump said. Trump said there were two major confrontations that involved China and Pakistan during his rule, both of which did not escalate. With Pakistan, it was the Pulwama terrorist attack of 2019, and with China, it was the Galwan clash of 2020. The Republican presidential candidate said that at a personal level with PM Modi, and I quote, "We have a very good relationship. He's the nicest human being," end quote. On being asked if the world leaders were all sharks, Trump said not all of them, but gave the example of PM Modi as one of the tough leaders. Trump said that till PM Modi became Prime Minister, there was instability in India. Finally, Trump fondly recalled his participation in the Howdy Modi event in Houston in 2020, saying, "It was me and him. We filled up the stadium, was beautiful, like 80,000 people, was going crazy." South Korean author Han Kang has won the 2024 Nobel Prize in Literature. The prize for the Swedish Academy is worth $1.1 million. Han Kang started her career in 1993 and has published a number of poems. Her debut short story collection, A Love of Yoso, was released in 1995. She is the second South Korean to win a Nobel Prize ever, but the first to win the Literature Prize.
The Nobel Prize in Literature for 2024 is awarded to South Korean author Han Kang for her intense poetic prose that confronts historical traumas and exposes the fragility of human life.
In his National Day address, President William Lai Ching-te asserted that China has no right to represent Taiwan, while also expressing the island's willingness to collaborate with Beijing on global challenges. He reaffirmed Taiwan's commitment to defending its sovereignty, maintaining peace in the Taiwan Strait, and pursuing equal and dignified dialogue with China.
On this land, democracy and freedom are growing and thriving. The People's Republic of China has no right to represent Taiwan. As President, my mission is to ensure that our nation endures and progresses, and to unite the 23 million people of Taiwan. I will also uphold the commitment to resist annexation and encroachment upon our sovereignty.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news. Venkanna, a physically handicapped artist, has converted the Osmania University in Telangana into canvas for social message. What started as a single painting has now grown into a campus-wide initiative, with his colorful painting of animals, birds and environmental issues now adorning several rocks in the campus. Admirers of actor Rajnikant came on roads in India's southern state of Tamil Nadu to mark the launch of his film Retaliation. The film, which has released on Thursday, is expected to break box office records. Durga Puja, the greatest festival of India, particularly in West Bengal, celebrates the victory of goddess Durga defeating Mahishasur. It starts with Bodhan and Shashti Puja. Dr. Sarup Prasad Ghosh, Director, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad Institute of Asian Studies, expressed the mythological importance of worshipping Devi Durga.
This Navaratri in West Bengal is celebrated with pomp and grandeur from Shashti, Saptami, Ashtami and Navami. Vijayadashami is the last day, and the Vijayadashami ends with sweets. We Bengalis call our friends, near and dear ones, even those whom we know, and offer sweets to them, and it ends with a note that we will remain as friends together throughout the rest of the year. So this is a very auspicious time. The Bengalis, the Hindus wait throughout the year for these 4 days.
The representatives of the new generation who have been retaining the cultural heritage of India since childhood, Pratyasha, too expressed her experiences and importance of social gathering on the occasion of Durga Puja in the era of social media.
Puja for me is an excuse to connect with my family, my relatives, my friends in a very relaxed traditional setup where we get to revive our values, our views on social life, and this for me is something that I cannot do away with.
The Indian state of Assam is also abuzz with excitement as the grand celebration of Durga Puja began on Wednesday. The vibrant atmosphere filled with the rhythmic beats of traditional drums signals the arrival of the festival, and the devotees are all set to welcome Goddess Durga on this auspicious occasion. Here's a report by correspondent Nilutpal Deb from Hailakandi, Assam.
Yes, the countdown for the biggest festival, Durga Puja, is almost over. The state of Assam is all set to worship Goddess Durga with traditional rituals and customs. Right now I am in Hailakandi, where about 400 public Durga Puja will be held. This is the Puja pandal of Session Durga Puja Committee. This is one of the eco-friendly Puja pandals. This will be come on light from today itself. We have some local people here who will like to know about their preparation.
Durga Puja is just not a festival for the Bengalis, it's an emotion for us. So the preparation is almost done. I have bought so many saris, and after a few days of continuous rainfall, today the sun has come up finally. So hoping for a great puja ahead.
We eagerly wait for this festivity, and now that it's finally here, it's all about getting the feel of the new clothes, going to different pandals with our friends. So yeah, that's all about it.
The wait is almost over, and about 8,000 public Durga Puja will be held this year in Assam. All is in readiness and all are eager to worship Goddess Durga. With camera person Partho, I am Nilutpal Dev for DD India.
Former chairperson of the Tata Group, Ratan Tata, is no more. He died at the age of 86 in Mumbai's Breach Candy Hospital on Wednesday, where he was admitted for the past few days due to age-related issues. His contributions to nation building shall never be forgotten.
India's industry titan has passed away. Ratan Tata, a modest business tycoon, breathed his last in a Mumbai hospital late Wednesday night. He was 86 and had been admitted to Mumbai's Breach Candy Hospital on Monday due to a sudden drop in blood pressure. He was in critical condition in the intensive care unit. Born in 1937 to Sunu and Naval Tata, he attended Campion School and Cathedral and John Connon School at Bombay. At 17, he left for Cornell University in New York, where he studied architecture and engineering. In 1962, Tata joined the Tata Group as an assistant in Tata Industries. Later, he served as the group's resident representative in Australia. After returning to India in 1970, he had a short stint at Tata Consultancy Services before joining the board of Tata Sons in 1974 as a director. He was chairman of India's national carrier Air India between 1986 and 1989. On March 25, 1991, he succeeded J.R.D. Tata as chairman of Tata Sons and the Tata Trusts, initiating major restructuring efforts. As chairman, Tata led the major Tata companies, including Tata Motors, Tata Steel, Tata Consultancy Services, and more. Under his leadership, the group's revenues grew to over $100 billion in 2011-12. Tata, a teetotaler and non-smoker, consciously chose to remain single. In 1998, Tata launched the Indica, India's first fully indigenous passenger car. Initially criticized by auto analysts, the Indica became a bestseller due to its excellent fuel economy, powerful engine, and aggressive marketing. A newer version, the Indica V2, quickly became a mass favorite. Tata Motors also successfully exported the car to South Africa. The success of the Indica played a key role in Tata Motors' growth. In 2008, Tata launched the Tata Nano, a budget-friendly people's car. He was awarded the Padma Vibhushan, India's second highest civilian honor, in 2008. In December 2012, Tata stepped down as chairman of Tata Sons after 50 years with the Tata Group and was conferred the honorary title of chairman emeritus of Tata Sons, Tata Industries, Tata Motors, Tata Steel, and Tata Chemicals. As chairman emeritus, Ratan Tata spearheaded significant reforms, including enforcing retirement ages and promoting younger leaders to senior roles. After stepping down, he became a prominent investor in Indian startups, backing a diverse range of companies. His legacy of elevating the Tata Group, his philanthropy, and his commitment to social causes will continue to inspire generations. Condolence messages have been pouring in from all corners of the globe since the news of his passing broke. India's President, Prime Minister, Vice President and many other leaders have paid tribute, describing him as a visionary and an extraordinary human being. International dignitaries have also honoured the titan. Ratan Tata's mortal remains were displayed at the National Centre for Performing Arts in South Mumbai for the public to pay their last respects. New York's Cornell University is also mourning the loss of Ratan Tata. Alumnus and global leader, he left an indelible mark on the university through historic donations supporting scholarships, technological innovations and other causes. As a former trustee of Cornell, he was the driving force behind the Tata Group. In a solemn occasion marking the end of an era, people from all walks of life gathered to pay their last respects to the legendary industrialist and philanthropist Ratan Tata. The lawns of NCPA at Nariman Point in Mumbai became a sea of mourners united in grief and admiration. In attendance was India's Home Minister Amit Shah, who represented the government of India at the last rites. Tata's contributions to industry and philanthropy were celebrated by countless individuals, each reflecting on his monumental impact on the nation. Ratan Tata's final journey concluded at the Worli Crematorium in Mumbai, where his last rites were performed with full state honours. In a mark of respect, the national flag flew at half-mast in government offices across the state. The Maharashtra Chief Minister announced a state mourning on Thursday, leading to the suspension of all entertainment programs. This is a profound moment of reflection and remembrance of a man whose legacy will continue to inspire generations. Bureau Report, DD India.
And our correspondent Yogesh Shodhal has joined us from Mumbai. Yogesh, Ratan Tata has left behind a towering legacy and he is being remembered not just in India but the world over. Tributes are coming in from all across the world, in fact. So how does the average citizen in Mumbai remember his legacy?
Since the NSCI, the place where the body was kept from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Basically from NCP and then the Worli Crematorium. If you talk about the people, talk about the youngsters, thousands of youngsters who witnessed the last journey of Ratan Tata. We had seen also the slogans of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, Jai Hind. That was also, the slogans were raised by the youngsters when police allowed some of them because both the traffic from NSCI, from NCPI to Worli Crematorium, roughly 12 kilometers distance between these two venues, and all the routes, the youngsters and senior citizens, everyone was present there. Everyone was quite, they were displayed, their sentiment was flowing across the environment. Now the police has to make additional security arrangements to ensure that there is no panic on the route. But yes, youngsters, there are a large number of youngsters were there. So that also marks how Ratan Tata is popular among the youngsters. We know that from startup, roughly more than 30 startups, the big startups, Ratan Tata had personally invested in those startups. So we have seen all the schemes for the betterment of India, including the Make in India or Digital India or Vocal for Local. The Tata Group has been the driving force. Recently, a couple of days back, we had seen in Tuna Bhatti, the area in Mumbai, where Tata Institute of Skills were inaugurated. So a lot of things have been done for the country by Tata Group at various levels. And that is what we have witnessed today, a mark of respect not only by the government, and we have also reported in your story that how the government, Maharashtra government is mourning, all the government events were cancelled today. At the same time, the youngsters, the peers, the business companies, the pyramids, all the industrialists were also there at the crematorium, and they have also expressed their respect and paid the tribute to Ratan Tata.
We leave it at that. A colossal loss, not just for the corporate world, but even for the average citizen that was inspired by his works and contributions to not just the corporate world, but the world of philanthropy as well. Yogesh Shodhal reporting from Mumbai. Well, now time for all the sports action. Tennis star Rafael Nadal has officially announced his retirement from tennis. Nadal ends his incredible career, which saw him win 22 Grand Slam titles. 14 of these titles came at the French Open, which led the 38-year-old Spanish legend earning the nickname King of Clay due to his dominance on the red dirt. In a video message, Nadal revealed the news and stated that he is retiring from professional tennis. He further said that the last couple of years have been difficult for him and he hasn't been able to play without limitations. The 38-year-old will make his final appearance for Spain at November's Davis Cup finals in Malaga. That's all in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the news and updates from DD India mobile app. And this app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Manu Bhattacharya signing off from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.